Do it live.
Previously.
1, 2, 3.
X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show.
I don't think we're here to get better.
No, we're not here to get better, but welcome anyway to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show.
Would anyone like to share their first time?
Anyone? No? Okay.
I'm still waiting.
Well, it's coming. Your day's coming. I am your host.
Do what? We're screwed our heads?
Yep. And with me, as always, is my co-host.
You're not alone. Not anymore.
It warms my heart every week, Andre.
I'm not sure if it's good that the character was a traitor that was secretly hurting the other people or willing to kill them that you used as my reference, but it's certainly one of the more kinder ones you picked in the past, so I'll take it.
You know, I'm alone for 6 days and 24 hours every week, and this is the time for me.
Your poor wife's in the other room, like
2 kids.
You're 2 kids, a wife. You're like, no, nobody's around me. No, I have no mental equal for 6.5 days.
I saw you today. What the hell?
But we are your hosts, Davin Bear and my Raj, and we have 2 guests here tonight. Return guest, fan favorite, joins us.
What's the last thing you remember?
Well, what's the last thing I remember? Going to an awesome Dartmouth comic book art festival in the Alderney Landing and seeing some featured guests there today. And
good answer. Mm-hmm. Very good answer. Dan and Ball's here with us. X-Man Dan. X-Man Dad since the last time.
Yeah, I make less appearances now on behalf of...
Well,
congratulations.
Thanks.
Yes.
Once you become a full-fledged zombie, it won't affect you anymore.
I think Audrey's preferred term was breeder.
Yep. Yeah, right.
Somebody's been watching the show.
Yeah, the last 3 episodes got political. Wow.
Well, we've been together a long time.
Should we go that route? Is that that's a whole nother discussion?
Oh no! You mean like political, or like just stupid? Okay, I was gonna say because I don't think we did anything overly. We weren't super Trumpian or anything, were we?
No, certainly not.
Certainly not pro, that's for sure. But
no.
Put it this way, I've been listening.
All right, good.
we have another guest with us too, right to my left, right if you're looking at us right now.
It's important we find out your power so we can help you get better.
I'm always looking to get a little better.
You don't need to lean in. It hears you. This mic hears you.
This is my first time.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. Sam Spot's with us. My buddy Sam Hossack. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I changed it.
Yeah.
My buddy whose name I can't pronounce.
Yeah.
You guys just met, didn't you?
Yeah.
All right.
He was kind of wandering around outside. I was just like, "Hey, man, you want to be on my podcast?
Come here on the podcast."
Just taking people in off the streets.
Yeah, that's
place, right time.
Look, you ever heard of the X-Men? He's just like, "No, but I'm willing to learn."
All right,
come on
I'm
in.
always open to new things like X-Men.
Exactly. Whatever.
Exactly.
But yeah, we are here to review New Mutants from 2020. It snuck under the radar because it was released after the Fox acquisition by Disney. So there was no promotion for it at all. It was just a tax write-off for them or whatever. But
they also pushed back. They changed the release date 5 times in this movie.
Yeah, that too. And it doesn't seem that way when you watch it. It doesn't seem kind of piecemeal chopped away at or anything like that.
It wasn't really. They had. I can bring it up in my tidbits later, but there's some interesting stuff about what this was intended to be and what it ended up being.
Yeah, we'll get there for sure. But for first, we have a segment.
Well, let's catch up on old times.
What are they up to? What you think they're doing up there?
What you think they doing up there? What are they up to? God, I love that. All right. What you think they doing up there? Well, 3 of us were at Decaf today the Dartmouth Comic Arts Festival. Good time.
Great.
Good times. Got to see great artists like Sam Hossack here. And, Nick Bradshaw was there. Ed Brisson. Troy and Brenda Little were there. Lots of great guests. Lots of former guests of the Graphic Histories podcast.
Ed was the first one.
Ed, I mentioned that to him when I was talking to him.
Did he seem
like,
flattered?
I was like, thanks for kicking off the whole train, man. It's been a wild ride.
Yeah, I should have him back
Second
sometime.
shout out for Nick for signing my Wolverines. The Wolverines series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just haven't had it. That's how Davin got me dragged out.
Sweet.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, he's you
Nick's a
own
great
this
guy.
comic. Get out there. Get it signed.
Get
Got
it signed.
The baby. Got the
Yeah,
wife.
you gotta-
Did you get the baby signed?
Yeah, but we have to bathe her already. She had a blowout on the way home, so it's
Oh.
like
It sounded like you said
signature's gone.
buttocks. You're like, did you get it signed? And you just buttocks.
buttocks.
It's just
No,
every
we saw
time I
a
think of that,
magician.
Ed Brisson.
I think of Talladega Night. I think of Talladega Nights where he's like, "I'll sign your baby, ma'am." He just signs across the head of the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was Dave there doing magic, Mr. J?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
A lot of balloons.
my old landlord.
Oh,
Oh, really?
Yeah, I used to rent a house from him.
Edith loved it. Yeah.
Oh no, he's a great guy. I used to live next door. He's a friend for years. Still is, I guess. I don't see him as much. He's usually too busy, but I hadn't seen him in a long time. Excellent. So that was fun. You guys, were you selling a book or something there?
I was selling
Nice.
a book that I hope to one day chat with you, Andre, about my first graphic novel.
Yes.
But I actually have a funny Ed Brisson story about that. I had brought one over to him just to like unsolicited slide it into his backpack or something.
I did that a lot when I had my comics out too.
I think he got. I think,
Shit, look at aliens. What?
I think you have to. That's part of the industry.
Oh yeah.
But
Industry
he
class.
noticed me and he said, "Oh, thank you. Can you sign it?" So I went to pull out his pen, and as I'm taking the marker out, I accidentally mark one of his comic books on the table, and it was a big fuck moment. I'm going to use my fuck privileges now.
Yep.
Yeah, you get.
Got
Yes,
That's
for
early.
sure.
And he says he takes the book that I marked, his book that I marked, and writes his name over it and says, "I'll trade you." So we traded comics. There's no
that's
hard
sweet.
feelings, I hope.
That is nice.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's a super sweet guy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like we always say, the closest thing to real life superheroes is the comic creators.
God bless.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a good show. We wandered around a few times, and then we went to the playground, Edith and I, and then there was a bit of a poop incident. So we got out of there fast.
You too?
A poop
Yeah, you had one too.
Actually, ours was more aptly timed, but it's like the parking was crazy. I felt bad for people who are like just standing there with their blinkers on, and we're like, man, I got that. It's not happening. You're gonna have to give it a moment. And then hot
It
day.
happens.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Andre's like, I didn't sign up for this.
No, it's all. I don't want to. I'd like to clear up that sometimes I play a curmudgeon. And I seemingly like dislike children. I really don't. I like kids. I wholly do.
I know.
Just
Listen,
knows
and
what-
I understand you were
my-
cornered. It's not as if you don't like kids. You don't like being told you need to have kids. That's
I don't
different.
particularly care for that.
Right?
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
talked about the
And that's
JD Vance
fair.
thing. That's what it was. I forgot about
Right.
the political thing you're talking about. Yeah, fuck that guy.
Andre's one of those crazy cat ladies.
Oh,
Yeah, 100% proud of it.
The best kind of people.
That's right.
I was one for a long time.
Yeah, no, it's like I love kids. Just cause, but my biggest gripe is losing friendships because I lose friends when they have kids. They just they're gone.
It does happen.
I see them like twice a year now, and it's
All right,
even then
listen,
it's
I got to
bad.
put this one out on the airways too. The very first piece,
Uh-oh.
very first thing that happened when I told Davin that Lindsay that we were having a kid. Davin's like, expect two things. Expect a lot of unsolicited advice,
Oh yeah, I don't do that. I don't do that.
and then he proceeded to give me a bunch of advice. And I was like,
That's wonderful.
yeah.
Don't listen to anybody else's advice but mine. Mine's good, but the rest that's garbage.
No, like a lot of the parenting advice is actually helpful. Like a lot of it you just hear on repeat, some of the same things, but like a lot of times you get definitely some good insights. Like, have you tried that? It's just like, no.
Yeah.
But
Having friends that
tomorrow,
are
I
other
shall.
parents, it's the thing, Andre.
Yeah.
It's like a secret sub market, right? Because
Mhm.
I've only paid for one onesie on the baby, and now I'm
Mhm.
just like upgrading for free
Oh,
onesies.
yes.
But people are like, "This is blown out. Can't use this. It's done."
Yeah, more onesies.
So
So I limited myself because comic boxes are dangerous.
So dangerous.
So I limited myself to the A's. I'm like, I'm just gonna look for this. I wanted the new Alpha Flight, the new Ed Brisson run of it. I hadn't gotten it in single issue, so I'm like, I'm gonna try to find it in single issue. Like, it wasn't there in any of the bins.
It was in
So-
Nick Bradshaw's stand.
What?
It was in Nick Bradshaw's stand.
The single issues?
Yeah, I grabbed it and I got both of them to sign it.
Just number one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I was looking for the whole run.
Oh, you're looking for the whole
Yeah.
run. Sorry.
But that's awesome.
Yeah.
that's
I didn't
pretty
know
sweet.
that.
Yeah.
That's
It was
pretty-
only one there.
Oh, that's pretty great. So yeah, because he did the cover on the first issue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick Bradshaw did the cover on the first issue. So I was looking for that actually for that reason too. Actually, but I didn't find them. I apparently didn't look because I went to Nick Bradshaw's last because I pulled out all my Nick Bradshaw comics this morning and I realized I have already got him to sign all of them. So I have no Bradshaws left. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to get a new one.
Could you double sign this?
Yeah, can you double sign this?
On the
Could
other
you just
side?
like put like Bradshaw 2?
Oh, really?
But,
cat appearance?
So
Usually
yeah, I
that's
was
the
just
second
planning on
act
going
kind of
there
thing.
last and getting some prints from him, but then there was an incident. But Sam did go back.
A
so
poopsident, I believe you
made
referred to it.
things. But so I got this, and on Ed Brisson's table, he had the trade of the Alpha Flight route I was working for.
Nice.
So, which is the full story. It only went 5 issues, I do believe. And there's David Cutler art in here. Friend of the show, David Cutler.
Oh man, I should have got it just to go get David Cutler
Yeah,
signed.
got a
it.
nice signature there on the inside.
Was Dave
Very
there?
good. No, Dave wasn't there.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
But yeah, so
Made a guest appearance on our
Forward to
last
that one.
on our Deadpool vs Wolverine episode.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't make it for the cameo appearances. A lot of cameos. That's like my only criticism of the movie is of what they had so many great cameos and still could have had so many more. Any one of these actors tonight that will be featured on the
They
new
tried.
movies.
They tried to have, I guess, Nicolas Cage do Ghost Rider, but it didn't work. out.
Yeah, I know. But like, where was Brolin?
Nice.
Did you remember that
Oh.
scene in the movie? The scene with me and Dan in it? You remember?
Yeah, they were like, oh, I guess we'll
We
just
were in the
pose for
movie?
just one picture.
The one where they posed and for an awkwardly tilted
Yeah.
camera angle with way
Well,
too much
because
light.
exactly,
And-
they were
and-
looking.
and-
they were
And
looking
they
to the different
stood on a
universes.
cardboard sign of their own names. Yeah, that was.
Good times.
Stranger
Good times.
things happened in that movie. Let's be
Mhm.
honest.
Yeah.
I mean,
But yeah, great movie. Did you see it?
I did.
What
Oh.
did you think?
Oh,
Yeah.
tears. It was great. Every part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
I actually watched it
we're not
again.
here
on
to
the
talk
weekend.
about
A
that.
friend of mine hadn't seen it.
Did you?
When I was visiting him, so I went and saw it again.
nice. And the
So
second
what's
time,
what?
Uh,
So what
first
what
time.
you doing up there, Andre?
What do you mean in life?
You were-
Wait.
Where were you up to today? You weren't at decaf, big time.
No, I had trivia. And I was coming back from Cape Breton. I had a thing in Bedeck. that I was at. It was
Bedek's
just
nice
Yeah.
town. I like Bedeck.
Yeah, it was a nice area.
Yeah.
But yeah, just busy, insanely busy. Next week is nuts. I got to wrestle Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then I have an appearance I got to do for relate to wrestling. I don't actually wrestle on Saturday, so it's just.
You're wrestling on Tuesday. Are we moving the show?
I told you that's why we're doing it today.
Oh, that Tuesday. Oh, I thought you meant the next Tuesday.
and here we are.
No. Yeah,
No.
that's why we're here now. That's why I
That's
want
why
to.
we know.
Yeah.
Our special Sunday.
I want to pre-record it on a different time, but Davin wrote me into doing it now. So
Yeah,
Here
we
we
do it
are.
live. We don't pre-record around.
and I
here.
host movie night tomorrow night. So
Busy
Yeah.
man.
busy. I am.
Well-
we're showing Kung Fu Hustle at a local bar.
That's a
Any
great
opening
movie.
thoughts on? Yeah, this movie. We covered it on my hold up.
I
a movie
prefer
podcast.
Shaolin Soccer. I'm up
lot of
for the
people
same
say that.
crew.
I never saw that one.
That's good.
Interesting.
Bunch of the same.
So, New Mutants. I gotta say, it's better than I was expecting it to be.
It's a lot of like blah. It's interesting, but
It's formulaic. It's
I liked it more than most people did when it came out. I liked it less the second time around, but I didn't hate it. It's still a fine movie.
that was the first watch for me. I didn't.
Some of the effects are quite good in it, actually. The bear looks
that was your
really
first
cool.
watch.
It looks very good. Yeah.
Magic stuff is pretty.
I thought
cool.
I had seen it before, but then I was watching it. I'm like, I must have fell asleep when I turned this on because I like remember the first bit and then nothing. So
Yeah, I would have watched a movie
Must
about
have.
magic alone. Just they went all out on all of the scenes with her
Oh.
using her magic.
Yeah.
I could watch Anya Taylor-Joy yell shit in Latin for like 2 hours.
Listen,
Like,
last
they could've just
episode you
had
talked
ma-
about how much you could watch Anna Taylor-Joy. We know we're here. Precedent is set.
Right?
Because
Yeah,
Devin's
Davin's got what you'd call an infatuation, I'd say.
yeah,
No,
like,
but
man,
that she
Those
well,
eyes.
she does have nice eyes.
Nice eyes.
But
Kind of.
she's a good actress. I haven't seen that Queen's Gambit yet. But yeah,
That's a really good show.
I've seen that. It's really good.
I only know the show of one Gambit. Remember.
I remember.
I'm both ready.
Oh yeah,
I love my dad is nuts.
Whoa.
I got.
I was all my dad. My dad was balls deep all up in my mama.
What?
Okay. Remember Gambit was something I was ready? He was like, I was born ready.
Yeah, I was born
Oh,
ready.
yeah.
I've been ready. I've
Was
done been
born
ready
ready.
since my dad was.
My dad was all up my
They call me that Gambit.
my dad's buttery nuts were all up in my mama, and I came out and said, hello. How you doing? Or something like that. What's up? And he came out and said, what's
Vive
up?
l'Acadie, Gambit. Vive l'Acadie, man. You exposed motherfucker.
All right, let's get into it.
Exposed, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's get into
That's
it.
the thing.
Wintry scene. Bring us in.
The review shall commence now.
Okay, well, we get a nice little title sequence that uses the art, the Bill Sienkiewicz art
Sienkiewicz.
style. Yeah, whatever. The Bill Sienkiewicz
Hey, he's my
art
favorite
style.
artist. You say it right.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. So
We're
yeah,
spicy tonight. We were
yeah,
spicy
I'm
tonight.
tired. I'm tired. Yeah, so we get the Bill
Hug a kid.
Sienkiewicz artwork with a title card, which is nice. We see a young girl who will come to know as Danny Morningstar, sleeping in her bed to be awakened by her father, who is played by the adult.
Is it Adam Beach?
I was going to say played by the middle-aged adult American man that is used in every single time they need a middle-aged adult Indigenous American man in every movie ever. Adam Beach.
I'm sure he's Canadian.
Oh, is he? I hope
I
so.
think so.
He was most notably Slipknot in the Suicide Squad movie, only long enough for his head to get exploded.
Yeah. It was Adam Beach, though. I was laughing. I'm
Oh, he was Canadian. Yes,
I was
he is
like-
Canadian.
I was like, is this Adam Beach? Because it's hard to say.
Every single time they need an Indigenous
Yeah.
adult male,
Oh, yeah.
like
He
a
gets
dad
worse.
character, I mean, it was younger until he aged into being the dad now. Now he's like the dad and everything.
Yeah, before he was just, he was cast as like the younger Indigenous guy when you needed the younger Indigenous guy in the movie. But he's a good actor, actually, Adam Beach. So.
Yes,
But there are other Indigenous actors out there. Most of them are on Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, Adam Beach was. I don't think Adam
Which is a
Beach.
great show.
I don't think Adam Beach was, which is funny. So a lot of Canadian actors are on the show.
There was like the
No.
whole cast of North of 60. Let's not forget.
A good chunk of them. We're on the Reservation Dogs
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
that was
as
cool
adult, like
episode.
as much older though.
Yeah, for sure. That was actually I kind of want to go back and rewatch that show. I remember liking it a lot as a kid, and I probably like it more now as an adult.
What's that?
At North of 60.
Oh, North of 60. I never watched it much as a kid.
So yeah, she was waking from her bed by noise. Apparently something big is going on.
Andre only had 3 channels.
I did. One of them was French.
Same. One
Uh,
of them is French.
You guys grew up in the same area, pretty much.
Well,
Did
not
we?
it just being rural anywhere in Nova Scotia, it would seem the same. We're both on the northern side of the mainland, but
How far is Guysborough from Antigonish?
Very close, actually.
very close. Yeah, my grandparents are up there.
I'm not from actually
Yeah,
Bayfield,
he's from. Yeah,
which is outside of Antigonish, but it's in Antigonish County.
parents own property in
You
Bayfield.
You just pulled a Stephen McHattie.
I did.
What a guy. He's complained about Stephen McHattie several times for doing what he just did.
I didn't complain.
Wait, it might have been misinterpreted.
I wasn't a dick about it like he was.
It might have been misinterpreted.
Actually,
He was
I'm from
proving how
Bayfield.
he lived even closer. So you're one of the
Yeah, guys
guys
were-
from East. We didn't have
Yeah.
a soccer field. I had to play at Antigonish East for my home games.
Yeah, that's why we went to high school. There you go. Same day, guys,
The
bro.
Northerners.
So she's awakened by some noise. Her dad gets her out of the house, takes her out into the woods. You actually, we can run through like the bio for the description for this movie can be pretty fast. But anyway, she's brought out into the woods, left into a trunk of a tree. Oh, well, her dad runs off to try to deal with whatever's happening. She doesn't really know. Then she hears her dad screaming, basically getting
It
killed.
was a tornado, Andre.
It was climate change.
We're getting to
Climate
that.
change.
She wakes up. She passes out, wakes up in a hospital, chained to a bed, handcuffed to a bed, where she meets Dr. Reyes, who is, well, first she notices someone watching her in the vent above her head. When she first awakens, there's someone in the air ducts. When she meets Dr. Reyes, who is played by the actress, I forget her name, but she was in The Suicide Squad, the good one that James Gunn did. She played the Quarter Maltese freedom fighter. But anyway,
I thought she looked familiar, but I didn't know why. And I did see that James Gunn Suicide.
That's one of the best superhero movies ever, in my opinion. It's up there.
It's fun.
It's up there.
Going higher than a 10, Andre. What are you going to do? What are you going to push down
in
the rankings to make?
Dan's basically here to take you to task on Logan too. When we
no, not necessarily. I mean,
what's my task?
If you consider Matt to be that, I don't have to.
He thinks we have both overrated it quite highly.
What do we give it?
Listen, I'll be clear. I think you both
10,
overrate everything quite a lot in some senses. No offense.
Well, we're positive people.
I think you need to make a top 10. I don't like the 1 to 10 rating system.
It's
you got to
not the
go
best.
1 to 10 and top.
I especially don't
you're
like
really
that.
forced to
I
make a
especially don't
decision.
like that there's no incremental ranking. Like I can't do a 7.5.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is
come
not
on.
Be a man of
fair.
your convictions.
1
You
out
don't
of
need
10.
test
1 out
scores.
of 10 is
Do your
pretty
top 10.
good. On Letterboxd,
It's what
Letterboxd
limits
only go to
you.
5.
It's why there are so many 10s.
Yeah, a lot of things
Nothing
only
is
go to 5.
100%,
Siskel and
right?
Ebert only go to 2.
Well, then.
Well, 1 and 1. It's either good or not good to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Anyway.
actually only one. It's like black or white for them, because they each have their own version of that. But it's, yeah. I mean, within the way these movies go, I think, like, you know, if you're comparing it to the other movies in the
I mean,
in
it's
the
called
calendar.
X-rated, not X
Yeah.
opinions.
Yeah, and it's also not like rating it
Like
against
it's
every
not-
movie ever made. If we were, then it would. If I was rating Logan
Yeah.
against, like, you know,
That's true. The metric was something I was not really inclined to bring up, but since
Yeah.
we're there, like, you know, where some movies, you're like Logan, for example, but not, you know, to pick on Logan or anything, but like where you're just like, great movie, not great Wolverine movie. Is it a? if
that's
there
what he
was,
says. Did I say that? Did I?
No, that's what you
Yeah,
said.
I did say that.
Devin, you
That's
didn't
fair.
disagree.
I was
I'm also
convinced. You know what? Honestly, I was going into watching that Logan movie thinking I'm probably gonna. give
I'm
this, like,
surprised
6
I'm
or
surprised
7.
you came out of it
And then
that way.
I came
How
out of
you
it
went
pretty
into it,
happy.
I expected because I knew where you were going, where your head was at. But
I don't think I was a parent last time I watched that movie, and it
Yeah.
did make a difference.
I don't think Wolverine was apparent last time I watched that movie either. Just saying.
Oh no, not a good one.
Zing.
Not a good one. Not a good one at all.
So Danny Moore, Moonstar, who we know from the comics as Mirage, but I'll refer to her as
Well,
Danny.
Dan here has been a parent for like a month. And it's just like, let me tell you about fucking
Let me
parenting.
tell you.
Anyway, so young, right?
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's hilarious. Let me tell both of you how to raise your kids.
Yeah.
You're doing it all wrong. Number one, you need to hire me to look after them. I'll teach them the
Mine are,
ways
like,
of the wrestler.
Stomping on the floor and crying periodically upstairs.
Yeah. So I'll refer to her as Danny. She's informed that
What's her name?
that she's a mutant and that her village was destroyed or her reservation was destroyed by a tornado. Everyone died but her. She miraculously survived, and they think that she is a mutant because of the fact that she survived. She is given,
And they also say that her superior has a way of like knowing,
telling that she has mutant powers. Yes.
because he's Mr. Sinister and he has everybody's DNA on Earth as soon as they're born. I don't know how he gets it, but that's what he says. But anyway.
In the comics, yes.
Yeah. Well,
In the movie world, we don't know because we never find out.
It's as good as explanation as any, though, because
Do
they
you
don't.
think it was as
explain
good
in
an
this movie.
explanation as the Jack the Ripper?
Yes, yeah.
Jumping Jack Flash running down the streets. Oh,
Yeah.
I told you, bring me back the hearts. Just the hearts.
Yeah, it's the hearts.
It's the heart.
He's like, I want the other organs too.
Yeah.
I like that. I like
Yeah,
that.
there's
It's like it's not
Danny.
explained that he's some kind of a serial killer or something. He's just like Jack the Ripper's just there and they just let him go, like it's unanswered.
Yeah.
Danny was good. I mean, she was kind of like my least favorite of them in this movie.
She's a fine actress.
Characterization, she was fine. It's just as far as characterization, and it might just be because Danny's my favorite member of the New Mutants going in, so I just like want as much as I can get from it, kind of. But
I didn't have this may be left for X points later or something, but the
I mean, there's no X points. There's just Andre telling us stuff about the movie.
well, yeah, the details later. Like the budget like the acting budget was really low in terms of like how few even actors they had to have, and
all the acting budget went to the girl from Game of Thrones.
Which is interesting because like Anna Taylor-Joy ended up also probably billing a lot higher or as high now. I don't know.
Higher now. I mean, now she's
the Cannonball Buddy was popular because of Stranger Things, and he still doing that. And the guy that played Sunspot,
I don't know him.
Stuff, I think.
Oh yeah,
I think he's kind of a dude.
But yeah,
now.
so she was good. She was very good. It's just like she didn't seem quite like Danny to me. Like whereas the rest of them kind of did. Well, a little bit, not so much Cannonball. They went with a different take there, though it was good. But it's like that's not the Cannonball from the comics, and that's not really the Danny from the comics.
And that's sure as hell not the Lockheed from the comics for most of it, but we'll get there.
But the other three were really good. I mean, I'm still not big on like the whole Sunspot. To me is Afro-Cuban, and they've kind of like, I don't know if you call it whitewashing or brownwashing, whatever, but for a long time in the comics since then, everyone just forgot that he was supposed to be black. So that kind of bothers me a little bit because they keep going with that.
The actor that played him is Brazilian.
Yeah, everyone just thinks he's Brazilian, which means Latino, but he's actually Afro-Brazilian, not Afro-Cuban. So.
Originally, like it went through an iteration, probably pretty far back.
Well, the one in the cartoon doesn't look black either. So
I know that's continuing with the misinterpretation of the character, but whatever. But the characterization was great. He acted just like a rich dickhead. That's pretty much who Roberto.
And I do think of the transition from someone's understanding of them as that character to the one in the comic or in the 97. Like they could watch either or, and it translates really well. He hits all the caricature points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But just like the movie, this is like we like you said, it can be summarized pretty quick because for a movie that doesn't start like in media res, it gets there real fast.
It sure does.
Like things are explained. The audience isn't really treated like an idiot. Like it can.
They expect you to know. They're like, "Do you know who the X-Men are?" And they're always like,
"Yeah." It's like, I'm a
like,
mutant.
They even talk about the X-Men. Yeah.
It is a ways in, but when he's in the wheelchair, being like, "You know who got it? You know what this is."
Oh yeah, they think the superior is Professor X, and that they're being trained to be X-Men. Yeah. But and needless to say, Anya Taylor-Joy was perfect as Magic. Like it was amazing. Every time she got pissed off and screamed in Latin, I was like, "Oh my god, she's like the Dark Child." It's amazing. But yeah, it was good stuff. They made her a bit of a dick. Like Ileana's not that much of a dick.
Ileana is a dick. Come on, that same one that got tortured for half her life in Limbo.
Yeah, but she's not a dick to like the other X-Men. Like she's best friends with Kitty Pryde. Kitty Pryde.
Well, this one was like handed out. This one was like sex trafficked amongst a bunch of.
I think there's a bunch of other context.
She has a lot of reason to be angry at the world and scared and whatever.
The same way that like Danny maybe doesn't represent the leader, the action-packed leader in the movie that you're looking for. This is a good enough representation of her as like first form, ownery.
Sure.
Just
this was also there were supposed to be more movies, and this was the plan. So
I like this cast enough to say sure. I'd like to see them,
but we're never going to see that. But it was
Cable at the front of the line. Oh,
sure.
Bring back like. Oh. That'd be so good.
That would be great.
Just like goes and gets them doing their own thing.
That whole gag too,
that she talks with
Lockheed puppet. Yeah, like is Lockheed gonna be in this movie? And all of a sudden she's just like, it's so funny.
Yeah, so she's explained. Then we find out that she's in this home where they help people with gifts get to master their powers. We meet Maisie Williams' character, who is played.
She's Will's Bane.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to remember what her real name is because they don't go by their
Maisie Williams.
No. The Wolf
Rain Sinclair.
Rain Sinclair.
Rain, yes. So then we meet Rain, who will come to find out is a werewolf of sorts. She can turn into a wolf.
She pronounces it Sinclair.
I don't
Yeah,
think so.
because she's Scottish. Maybe.
Was that her real accent, or was that?
No,
She
but it
English
was a
or
pretty
I think
good
she's
one.
English. not
She's English,
Scottish.
yeah.
I
Okay.
think she put on a Scottish accent for it. It was good.
Spot on.
Yeah.
She was great
So-
as Rain. Like, yeah.
We also meet. We meet Sam Guthrie, who knows Cannonball. We also meet Roberto da Costa, who is Sunspot. He doesn't really reveal what his powers are. We don't really know his, so they all kind of talk about them as they go along. Ileana Rasputin, of course, Magic is there as well. And they're all kind of trapped in this place to get their powers sorted. Magic is rather dickish towards Danny early on and tries to kind of tries to
Quite dickish.
yeah, basically. And then even pushes Danny to try to run out to escape from the facility, knowing that she would hit a force field when she did.
That was a pretty hilarious thing, though. I'm like,
She
that
runs
was a
for-
big move, but my God,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was actually funny.
we see the wolf girl watching her as well, Wolfsbane.
Yeah, she's just running as a wolf next to her.
Yeah.
This is all happening.
Danny, of course, is so
Hi, Lindsay.
upset about what happened and everything that she and her dad and her family and everybody being gone, that she walks up to the clock tower with the intention to throw herself off, but is talked down by Rain, who tells her to give it another go, or another day at least, live for another day, and they can spend some time together. We see Cannonball testing his powers.
I love that scene, actually.
Chained down to a rock, trying to test
like,
his power.
In the trailer, you think he's just like some weird meth head or something because he's all like messed up and bruised up and whatever. Like, but he's just like banging himself up trying to practice.
There's a meth head to his madness.
Yeah. No, I thought that was. It looks cool the way they.
Yeah, he's also wearing an arm sleeve the whole time, so you hurt his arm.
Yeah.
And we get some flashbacks of his past. Basically that night while.
Can I just say that Excite Bike background is the most Dan thing ever? Like only Dan would have like Excite.
Couldn't change it. I was just like, I gotta put one on from my other pictures, and this came up, and I was like, I think that property probably
that's
will
one
be
of
fine
his
with it.
pictures.
Oh yeah,
That's one of Dan's pictures.
Yeah, it's on my
Excite Bike.
computer. Yeah, found it. I was like, oh, man. But yeah,
Did you make that track yourself, or is that just a pre-made?
yeah, custom,
is that a
for
custom?
sure.
Okay,
That's a
that's a
custom
custom
track?
for sure. Yeah.
Let me
Custom
run it. I
track
want to
for
run it.
sure. Every day.
I used to put hours and hours into Excite Bike. It was on
Guys,
31 and 1. 31 and 1 was legendary.
Oh yeah.
You kids
It
don't
was-
understand. 31.
Wasn't it 32 and 1?
No, they made a
42 and 1.
42 and 1
Okay.
after 31 and 1, but the game.
Man, you got to get the 115 in one. That's what
Oh yeah.
my wife had. We've been playing that for years.
And those ones I gave you though.
Nintendo?
I have a bunch of copies of like 101 or something like that, 101 and 1 or something like that. But you need to actually go into your NES and like rework one of the circuits to get it to work because they have their like piracy circuit that they had, and those piracy circuits age, and then they just think almost everything. Like that's even why your regular games, you're blowing this thing, you think it just needs some moisture. It's actually just that piracy circuit thinking it's a pirated game and not letting you play it. Like that's the thing. You just gotta go in there and rip that out.
And then it's all
Then you can play
uphill from
everything.
there. But then rip the wrong circuit out, and geez,
Do it right.
need Cypher in this movie.
Yeah, Forge. Yeah,
that'd be
Cypher
cool.
would have been good. Yeah.
Warlock.
And Warlock. We gotta have Cypher if you get Warlock.
But yeah, Cannonball.
That would
well
sequel
represented,
100%. Those two would have been in it.
I would say
If
together
they got the
in
second
some sort of
movie.
like
Yeah.
Doug Lock thing by the end.
We get some so she her and Mozzie I keep saying Mozzie, but her and Rain both go to the showers together, and there's some flirtations here, and obviously they have feelings for one another.
It's even
That start to
funnier
grow
because
throughout the
there
movie.
is no Mozzie.
I just said Mozzie, then corrected Rain because Mozzie's the actor, or Maisie.
No, it's Maisie.
Is that hilarious, Davin?
Yeah, to me.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Well, I hope you pronounce everything 100% correct for the rest of the show.
Oh, I will,
Yeah.
bud.
With accurate, culturally appropriate accents.
You've seen how I give Murphy shit about his mispronunciations of names.
Yeah, I also seen you do Jamaican accents on a whim, so you obviously are okay with that. So We'll just go left and right on whatever.
I'll do any accent. I don't care where it's from.
Let's hear your Chinese one. Really lean into it. Let's hear it.
I don't really have one.
This is recorded, right? We're gonna have this for future. Okay.
I'll get back.
He's just trying to get it banned on like YouTube. Let's get a special kind of rating just for
getting
that.
us taken down.
Pointing out a little hypocrisy is all. So, all right, then we see Cannonball kind of talking with DaCosta while they're doing some laundry, and then we get some little interstitial. I didn't mention earlier, but the name of the school is the Essex School of whatever.
Something.
So it's obviously related to Mr. Sinister and all that sort of stuff. Which is, they never really reveal who the mysterious benefactor is, but those who know enough about comics can probably surmise.
A little symbol on her pin.
Right.
Like
she has a
time.
Oh, was there one on the pin? I didn't notice.
I didn't see
It
that.
drops like cinematically at one point in the movie for like ding ding ding, falls on the ground. Not
also there's like
rest.
when she first is told about what happened to her dad and stuff, she's in like Reyes' office, and there's like a skull framed. There's a bunch of books that if you could probably freeze frame and look at them.
I kept trying.
But there's a skull that has like red eye things in the skull socket, like in the eye sockets, and the teeth are different colors. So I'm not sure if that's a nod to somebody else. They're like red and green and yellow or something.
There was a lot of like little references, and I did try and like stop the frame on a lot of the literature.
Yeah, me too. But it's I couldn't make out all the book titles. I was trying that too. There's one called
the movie's very dark. Like it's filmed very dark. Like it's hard to see most of the shit that's going on. That was my biggest complaint about
narratively. I don't know. Are you at the point where they're all chilling in the like lounge room watching TV yet? Because like first,
this is the
Roberto and Cannonball are like hanging out, and it's the like when like what you're saying when they're doing the laundry. And he's talking about his clothes, chucking t-shirts and Cannonball's like, "Whoa, you throw out a t-shirt every time it gets dirty?" He's like, "Yeah," and gives him a t-shirt. And he's like, "Oh, ball, sweet old t-shirt." I like how I called it out early before I re-watched it. This was my third time watching the movie, and in my first at least two, one of my criticisms was that the two of them hadn't really seemed like they were forging a bond, and on this third rewatch, at least, I paid more attention to that specifically. And it's like, given time, they were bros for sure.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Each scene set that precedent as it was going. I thought that was like kind of a good seed scene for that, because that otherwise everyone was just like a disparate group of people who did or didn't like each other.
Yes, but that's what we do get these interstitials where you see like what the cameras are seeing, which are like monitoring the rooms and stuff, where they will like show someone's mutant power being activated, and we see Danny's is when she's sleeping. Then we see Sam is kind of plagued with visions of the mine that he grew up in from the town that he was in, where he was working, which is linked to his traumatic backstory.
Murder.
Well, he accidentally, had an outburst.
Accidental murder.
Manslaughter.
Yeah.
It sounds a bit more like a villain. And it's somehow slightly less villainous.
When his powers activated in the mind, when he was stressed, he caused a cave in that killed a bunch of people, including his family.
It is an interesting take on these characters, though. They're like, we're just going to start this movie where all of these characters have killed people.
Mostly their parents.
Well,
Right. And that's kind of like, there's a whole conversation Celia has. Well, that's where you were going, I'm sure.
Reyes even says like early on that like when most mutants first come into their powers, even the X-Men, they've hurt people, and
then they were saying like, you imprison them, and she's like, sequester them.
Yeah.
She like corrected her with sequester new mutants because they're too dangerous. And it's like
sequestered for treatment.
Yes. Like, it's wrong way to do a maybe noble thing. She probably thought she was noble.
Well, we know later this nothing about this is noble, but
but she probably thought she was doing something to the effect of like, if one Legion shows up, one Proteus, which Proteus might even have been canon, although in the future, because this is in the 90s, I think.
Actually, they don't really say the time in this, do they?
I take the Buffy and the VHS, and no cell phones. They play
the VHS. Original plan for this movie would have been tied into Age of Apocalypse, and would have tracked,
right? Because it would have been like from the 80s first class guys into this,
and it would have had an appearance from McAvoy and the Storm actress. It was a plan that never happened.
Right.
Yeah, so it very much seemed to be like in the 80s, probably is where they're going, late 80s.
90s
So,
for sure, because Buffy is what they're playing on the TV in two different
yes,
points of the episode.
that is true.
I figured you loved that, didn't you, Dan? Or
Lindsay could
loved
give me
that.
the years. What were
The
the years
exact
those
scene.
seasons were on? The body was one episode, and
It's funny. I just got to that part of my skim through when I'm reviewing it. So
and that's season 5. So they're at least at season 5 Buffy, which is like 95.
Oh, so it's definitely not 80s.
And the Gentleman was 94.
Season 4.
Oh.
No, the year you want it?
Which
Oh,
means
did
that they
the
were
gentlemen come up on that? That makes sense. With the
yeah,
word.
2000, 2001. My guy.
There you have it.
Wow.
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 And
So
the
more
thing
recent
about that
than
is that because I was looking at this today,
So Motorola.
the body was the first episode that was cameoed on the thing, and then the next episode was from season 4. So either they were already watching reruns or watching it on VHS, which is we can remember when VHS was around.
They're teenagers.
We can all do that.
Well, someone was procuring those VHS. Is the thing.
they could have just been saved over in the facility from over the years.
That's true. But anyway,
But yeah,
that's something that's on there.
We see Rain watching the episode where Tara and Willow come together, which is obviously mirroring the relationship that the budding relationship she has with Danny.
Okay, I've said a lot already, but can I just touch on that one point because we're not doing
Say as much as you like, Dan.
One thing I thought that was interesting about that scene, as though it was clearly related to the relationship that was coming, like the budding relationship, maybe foreshadowing. I asked again, Lindsay, what was that scene from? And she said The Body, which is the episode, notably the episode where almost nothing sensational or supernatural happens. It's when Buffy's mom dies.
Yeah.
And the thing most sensational about that episode, at least cinematographically,
cinematographically,
cinematically,
cinematically is the word you're looking for.
Yeah, would be the it's like the that they have no score. The whole thing is run with just like the sounds of like amplified background noises and
that's interesting. Yeah,
interaction. So removing that, and then I started listening for it in this, and while it exists, that scene and as well as others, it was like minimal in the background score for a lot of scenes to build tension, just using silence or the background sound effects.
Quite a few movies that do. It's a good way to save money too.
Good horror film technique.
Well, right? Like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre doesn't really have a score. It's just Toby Jones does a lot of, or Toby Jones, the small English actor. Toby Hooper does a lot.
Toby Jones is
did a lot of it himself. Yeah, he is great. Arnim
The Detectorist is my favorite show ever. Like, it's the best.
But
you watch that one, Andre?
No.
Oh, there's a recommendation I have for you. Finally,
that was your recommendation and reminiscence.
The Detectorist.
Yeah, you did the last episode.
Yeah.
So anyway, we cut to Magic. Danny kind of eventually face off against Magic. We see Magic as a puppet that called Lockheed, which is a little purple dinosaur thing that she talks to.
Dragon. He's a space dragon.
Not in this, he isn't. He's a puppet.
Not in this, he isn't.
Yeah, he's a puppet. So
is he?
Yeah. So
we'll see.
At this point in the story, he is. So because Magic tries to attack her using her powers, and Danny Reyes makes force fields, which is her ability.
That's the same with the comics too, though. They made her a super sinister villain in this, which she's not in the comics.
Yeah. So she managed to stop any attack going on, but Magic does, her arm turns metal, and she has the big flaming sword thing she does in the comics. But because Magic lashed out, they put her in solitary, and you can see this really bothers her because she has some issues from the past. So we get along here
with these guys.
Yes. They sneak off and break into the attic of the school where they use a wheelchair, and they find a lie detector machine.
I also have an issue with these guys.
I have a question about those guys' interpretation, but they haven't come up yet, right? Did that dream just happen when he's been?
That just happened. Yeah. So
it's just a happy face at that time.
Yes, he wears a happy face mask. Yeah.
Similar to the Gentleman, though. It's funny that they put that episode up.
That was the thing. Yeah, that was the other.
Yeah.
It's probably not.
That was probably Doug Jones. Is this Doug Jones?
That's CGI, is what that is.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Designer though, anyway, the question I have is, do you guys how metaphorical do you assume that they are when you watched it? With all
This
the Russian
movie?
tattoos, no,
very.
not the whole movie, but just specifically those demons. Like they were
Oh.
from this movie's interpretation, like they were Russian mobsters. They weren't demons. The whole
Yes.
face and claw things were
Yeah.
just interpretations of her
Yes.
innocent mind.
Yeah.
Yes,
Which
agreed.
is like
100%.
kind of unfortunate because in the comics she was legit tortured by actual demons.
Yeah, Belasco.
Yeah, in hell. Like that
Yeah.
was not the
in
safe
limbo. No,
place.
in limbo. In
Well,
limbo.
yeah, in limbo, but not the safe place that she purported it to be. Anyway, I just
think
wanted
it's
to know
the
we were
same
all on the same
limbo.
page with that as a metaphor and not like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, she sleeps again. Danny does and wakes up in the forest in like her mind where it's snowing again. And there's some other stuff going on with that.
Do you think the people who tortured her wore those masks? Or that's just
No,
something she
no, I
added
think
after?
that's just something they added to.
Yeah.
It's also a nod to some other thing from the comics, I think, which I'll mention later. But they strap themselves in upstairs and to the lie detector machine they find and try to learn some things about it. We find out that Sunspot's never had sex because he gets too hot and could hurt somebody if he's doing it. So that's something that comes out of that, even though he tries to play it cool. Same with Magic. He tries. Same with Magic. He tries to be pass off. She, is fine, but basically they're all kind of broken in their own way. And we learn the budding relationship between
Reigns is almost the worst. Hers is like the priest found out she was a werewolf, so just like.
I mean, I'm gonna have to go with Ileana on that, like, but
yeah,
yes, hers is by far the
it's
worst.
a little more vague about what happened.
But Reigns
to her,
is
though.
also really bad, and it leaves her with a Reigns has to do with her faith, which is something maybe I can't understand.
And then the thing carved into her.
Well, that's the thing. It was from also the people she trusted the most in a world where she thought that was a figure worth trusting, and that was, I guess, more of the heart of the issue. She lost everything that day. Ileana maybe never had anything, but
yeah, but she also got branded. She also got
Yeah.
branded by the priest with the W or whatever on her back too.
Yeah, which is why taking it away was that much. It's that much more painful when it's from the people you think you can trust or rely on, versus like Ileana maybe never having ever learned to trust anyone.
But you're like for Wolfsbane, but it's almost like for witch. They think she's a witch, so they put that W in.
That's cool though, because I thought for sure when I was watching the movie, when she got the future would a brand of an M on her eyes would have been super like referential to something that wouldn't even have been. It's not like they're gonna put Rachel in the movie or like Phoenix.
I want to see Rachel in a movie.
That would have been the sequels. Would have been the movie. Phoenix Force having been established from like the Dark Phoenix and the other movies leading up to it. Probably her coming to take it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So we see Rain and Danny share a kiss, and they're getting closer. Alex, it's Alex, right? That's his
first time Rain's done that with anybody.
Roberto.
Yes, Roberto. That's it. DaCosta hears someone singing, follows it down, and then sees Ileana in the pool. She invites him in. He goes in with her, but then he sees her burst into flames when they start kissing, and he freaks out about it. But then the alarms go off because his powers activate because he's so freaked out about what happened. They push him in the pool.
Fire doesn't really work on me.
He's just sunspotted out, and they push Reyes pushed him in the pool to extinguish him. Yeah, exactly. She just spits like a broom and pushes him. So he believes Ileana let him into this, and she has no memory. She wasn't there. She says that she wasn't there at all. He had nothing to do with what happened. And things start moving.
Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I do like the subtle nods they made to the characters. If you know them, kind of like they, I think it's Reyes who mentions that Danny is the most powerful of them all, and Ileana is just like, what? Like you don't even know what I can do. Like she can do so many things. Like that's what she starts to hint at through the movie. She's like, no, fire doesn't work on me. And then like that, you'd have to be magic. She's just like, I can do magic too. Like I can do so many things you guys don't even realize. Like Danny's not the most powerful one here.
I do like rewinding back to that moment where she first reveals the soul sword and like Rain goes to town. This is like ahead of its time. Rain says, "Keep your father's mouth out your name," or sorry, keep my father's name out your mouth.
Oh shit, that is a bit ahead of the time.
Yeah. Before she goes in swinging.
Before she slapped right in the face.
Yeah.
Slapped the microphone right out of her ear.
And then the soul sword comes out. Yeah, like Ileana is just so supremely powerful.
Yeah. And I like that they did her teleportation too. Like that's why she's just like, yeah, I'm gonna go fight this bear now. They're like, what? She's just like, psh, like I'm gonna play with it for a bit. Don't even worry.
Well, spoilers. We haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, I know.
So the doctor's
What
doing
bear?
an experiment with Danny, puts to get her to relax. She gives her a drug. She gives her a drug and puts her out. And then after this, things start happening in the shower. Rain's attacked by the priest that she remembers from the past, who brands her. This is all her memory.
What did she get? Like, what did she drug her with? She's like, it's a pretty locked down facility.
Yeah, but just any kind of relaxant to try to get her to sleep, basically, to do.
We were kind of talking
experiments on
about
her.
this when the movie came on. Like, my wife turns and is like, "So wouldn't the solution be just to knock her the fuck out? Like, wouldn't that stop all this from happening?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know why I was doing that.
You
I
mean
guess her
knock
father
Danny
couldn't."
out?
Yeah, but then
When Danny's sleeping is when this stuff
that's
happens.
the thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
this kind of scene is the real reveal for that. That it's like, oh shit, when she's asleep, her
It's even
abilities are
worse.
the most
It's like-
unchecked.
it's like-
So
yeah.
the ability to how do you mitigate that without
Yeah.
like can't keep her awake the whole time. So
And also, so she runs out in wolf form, hits a door, and can't escape. Goes back to human form. Danny is accused by magic that she's the one doing this to her. They get in a bit of a fight, and Danny's abilities make magic remember something tragic from her past. But Danny goes and sees where magic goes when she teleports. As part of like during this fight, they kind of go to an like magic teleports her to this dimension some other dimension. But then Danny's face takes on the mask of the happy face that are from the visions that Magic's seeing, which shocks her enough to bring them back to the normal world. After all this happens, of course, they have a bit of a talk where we find out the tragic backstory of Ileana, that she was sort of sex trafficked by these Russian gangsters. And
did it come? Is it sex trafficked? Was that explicit? Like,
well,
I thought it was
it's not
pretty vague about what was going on.
It's not outwardly said, but I can't imagine what else would it be.
yeah,
I
the
don't
predatory
know. Like,
nature. See, the
some
thing
sort
about
of
it is
mutant
The predatory
thing.
nature of it seemed, and she drew a
Yeah.
He
picture.
related to real world horrors.
yeah, and
She
also
drew a
like,
picture of her as a little girl crying, and all these monster guys grabbing at her.
yeah,
Yeah,
not
true
not
enough.
even using the loaded version of the term. Like in the comics, she was literally groomed to become like a super powerful evil force. So I think that through line is the grooming part and what the worst case scenario there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the movie basically runs to the end pretty fast here. So
It runs full force at the end the whole way through the movie.
which actually
the end starts running at them at the beginning of the movie, and everything is just like
Yeah, it
still
does.
running.
but
from
like
the end.
like when the end really starts is an hour and 5 minutes into the movie, and then it goes till about like once they're about 20 minutes of straight up like action fighting whatever to get through it.
Yeah.
So
Good payoff.
Reyes gets a note from her superior that Danny's too dangerous, they need to kill her. She's going to, but then she honestly like is kind of like explaining to her that she's going to kill her, which is always tough. But as she's going out, all of the things that like the fears that everybody has are coming to life again. So we see the Russian gangster monsters running around, the smiley face monsters, and other things. And then the other kids have to team up to save Danny and fight off these monsters. They do fight off Reyes, fuck her up pretty good, and save her. And
She's
then
pretty evil, so she had it coming.
Yeah, but then she puts portals around all of them. She gets sliced up by Wolfsbane, who saves
Force fields, you mean?
Danny. Yes, she makes force fields around everybody. But then she is eaten by the demon bear, which is the manifestation of Danny's powers and what actually
Almost
killed
crushes Danny in that force field first, so
she does. But she also, this is what also wiped out Danny's village, because she couldn't control it, and it killed everyone. So then basically it's a big fight between them. Also, when Ileana and they had the moment together, she explained that it's limbo is where she goes when she goes to the other dimension.
Comic accurate.
And then there's a big fight with the demon bear. So Magic fights it, and her little hand puppet, while going into limbo, comes out as a living creature, which is little Lockheed.
Sometimes
so
she rules. That was
cute.
amazing. I cheered when like Lockheed turned into a real dragon. I was like, yes.
Yeah, it was
a
pretty
great movie.
That definitely was a awesome moment.
The bear was
Again, if
pretty
you're
cool
gonna,
too.
like, yeah,
Mhm.
the
And
way
Lockheed was
she like summons Limbo each time she hits with the Soul Sword, because it is what the Soul Sword's supposed to be cutting the fabric for her to move through space and time into Limbo. So when she hits the bear each time, like the world flashes into
Yeah.
Limbo and then out again.
Yeah, that was cool as shit too.
Yeah.
And Lockheed was very much like comic book Lockheed in the sense that Lockheed's very smart and very capable. So like he's this cute little thing, but like they're fighting this demon bear. She's just like, "You okay, Lockheed?" He's like, like of course. Like,
Fuck around, find out,
we're
bro.
just
Like,
fighting
let's
a
go.
demon bear. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
he loves that shit.
Oh,
Yeah. It's a big, massive fight, which basically results in them managing to come to terms with her powers by having a memory of her dad, basically appearing to her in
But that
an
fight,
astral
though.
form. Yeah, that fight's pretty great.
Do you have
Like
this
even
image
when
cover?
Roberto
don't
like
have those
condenses
issues.
in
That's what I'm gonna
form
talk
to
about,
like
though.
become the matte black version of himself in the comics, like where it's like just a complete void of light, and he's got the specks of like fusion energy moving around him. That come on, that
Yeah.
and then like
The eyes glowing
Cannonball
yellow,
actually
too.
getting to like pull his like full force out. That during the movie too, I was thinking it's like, oh no, Cannonball, he's got to run with him, and of course my wife was like, what the fuck, I wouldn't get on that ride. I mean, Jesus, she didn't say it that way, but like breakneck speed is like
I'm like, that didn't sound like Lindsay.
yeah,
I noticed Sunspot didn't fly in this either, which he does, doesn't he, in the comics?
no,
So
yeah, he didn't.
that may have been
But,
a
like,
revelation that would have came in the second movie. I'm guessing.
throughout
They
that
did
fight
make him
though,
super strong though.
Yeah.
throughout that fight, Cannonball does like show he can like hold on to someone because his like invulnerability. He's not invulnerable when
I'm not
blasting.
invulnerable when I'm blasting.
Not invulnerable when I'm blasting. Like he can extend that around others when he's carrying someone, which he showed like in the end trying to rescue Danny as they're like hot potato keeping her away from the bear.
I literally said that out loud when he like had himself chained to that
Yeah.
post. And
Yeah,
starts
me too.
bouncing off shit. I'm
Ah,
just
but
like,
I'm
I'm
not
not
vulnerable
invulnerable when I'm blasting.
You should
He used
see
to
his
say that
sister.
like 6 times an issue back in early Mutants. So
Yeah.
it's just like, we get it. You're nigh invulnerable and you're 16 saying the word nigh. Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And you got friggin' Guile from Street Fighter hair. Like, what is that?
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
got like
he
this
had
haircut going on. This like
pretty
flat
sweet,
top thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
What?
That's good too.
it was
So
impressive.
she comes to terms with her pain and loss through her visit from her dad and her memory, and I guess in the astral plane somewhat, and manages to deal with her issues enough to make the bear under control when she comes to. And everything's
She puts it
destroyed,
on
and
the nose.
Reyes is dead, and all the force fields are gone, and they're able to leave, and they all leave
Like,
together.
She died
Reyes is
slowly
dead.
from what
He
Rain
picks
did
up
to
a
her, like-
boot and like her like blood pours from a shoe, and he's like, "Oh, jeez."
Yeah.
She was eaten, like the bear took her and just ate her. Like,
Oh, yeah,
just
But it
that
was
slammed
such
her
a
down.
casual reaction to
I'm
everything.
pretty
like,
sure
was
she
it
was
a
dying
dream?
from what Rain
Like,
did to her.
did that
anyway.
really all happen? Picks up like a bloody boot. He's like, "Oh no."
She looked kind of cool, and her face was like slashed from rain with
Oh,
the,
yeah.
and her eye was all bloody from the
Yeah.
run across the eye. That was cool.
She's taking it seriously.
Rain like jumped on her shoulders and like tried to tear her face off.
doing one of these.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the kids get to leave together. End of movie.
Off into the
Yep, that was it.
motherfucking
Happy
sunset.
ending.
No
Happy
post credit scene. I assume there would have been if they had an
Had
option to
a
go forward.
universe.
It would have
to
had
go to.
Warlock in it. It would have been like
Should have had
something
TVA
about-
agents going like.
Yeah.
That's
sending them to the-
that's mentioned in here too.
Yeah,
Should have been
Oh.
sent to the void and been showed up in that last movie.
that would be cool.
Can you imagine any one of them? I would have taken Sam Guthrie. I'm not vulnerable. And I'm
Yeah, and
I
really
wish he
put
had
him,
said
really
that.
put him in the
like,
full game,
anyway.
the full cannonball outfit. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
just even see him in the background, like land in like a puff. Like, what's
He
that?
just gets turned pop like a blood.
I thought he
balloon,
was
like,
nigh invulnerable when he was blasting those.
His power looked pretty cool though.
Not with the lion.
CGI was actually pretty good in this.
It's too bad to think that like there's a possible world where we could have had Josh Brolin get in front of that crew and then bring Colossus in as a cameo, doing the voice with all the cool
With his
special
sister there,
effects that we've got. Like so many
Mm-hmm.
opportunities that was once a time they existed. By the time those budgets could be negotiated, those people would all age out of the role. And then
Well, you can do an older New Mutants team like they are now too. Like that's how I would like to see them bring back these guys.
I would like to
It's
see
just,
the movie
older
the
New
New
Mutants. They don't need to be
New
the
Mutants
young kids
replace
anymore.
Exiles, come from another universe as the New Mutants in Secret
Yeah.
Wars.
Sure.
Mhm.
Each of us will have to look into his own heart and decide.
All right, it's time to decide.
Decide.
All right. We only got one slot. Dan, you're the official guest. Sam's just some fella
Sorry,
I saw
Sam.
out front.
Yeah.
Am I able to retroactively?
Yeah, you're going back. Yep, you're gonna
Boom.
do that right now. What are you gonna
What?
give Logan? And yep, we had no.
You don't have
guests,
to track
Dan.
them, but
Yeah, we're tracking it.
Look at those.
every
Logan
single one.
scores.
from
I
the-
feel like you're gonna put it. It's gonna end up going to where I think it should be.
Are you
anyway.
just
do it.
asking just Logan?
Yeah, Logan.
So what? You're just allowing someone who wasn't on the episode to add in?
No.
He
I
watched
think-
it and he had lots of comments on.
So
I
does
think you
everybody
should-
that
no,
watches
yeah,
this show.
I was gonna say, I think you should get you should vote for who should like do the ranking for that, and then you should take my rankings right now for every single one of the ones that you rank and add them to that statistic.
You guys do realize that this is a show, like this isn't the ultimate authority on anything. It's purely for entertainment, right? It doesn't
Which is
matter
why
what
I
the
was
score
gonna
says.
let him vote, and you're like, "What?
Yeah.
This is the greatest thing about anything."
All right,
but,
go ahead.
Go
for
ahead.
which-
Throw your
for this
Logan in there.
movie, for this
No,
movie,
Logan.
Logan.
Yeah, give me your Logan.
Logan
Oh, you
was
guys can't see
generous.
that. There you go.
What?
Plug
Oh,
it
you
in.
got them all up there.
Andre
Oh, yeah.
gave it a 10. I gave it a 9. What do you give Logan, Dan?
7.
7. That's what I was gonna give it before I watched it, so I'm fine with that. 8.7.
Before you
is
watched it.
probably
Yeah, I
right.
haven't watched it actually.
seven
That's
point
why I gave it a 7.
Yeah, why would you? That's what I was going to give it before I watched it.
Well, that's what I
Looks at
thought it
me.
would be. That's what I thought it would be.
I've definitely
how I
watched that
remembered it.
movie.
I had
Least
seen
favorite
that.
thing about Logan is the very first line of the movie is "fuck."
Well, that doesn't bother me. I mean, it's dumb, but
It's just a strange.
for
first
me,
line
it's
of the
just
movie.
like doing the clone thing is
But this movie, I gave an 8.
okay.
This one.
Dan
I liked
says
it
8
quite a
on New
lot.
Mutants.
I
Wow,
liked it
that's
quite
high
a lot.
praise.
I think it could have been. It is high praise. I consider an 8 to be really high praise because I
Alright, we'll
won't give
come-
a
Can you
10
guys
to
hear me
anything.
still? I had a thing come up on my screen that just said microphone off.
No, we
I
hear
can
you.
hear you fine.
Okay. And who
Yeah.
cares?
So I would say if I would have gave it an 8, loved that it entered on, on a good foot. It got straight to the actual content, if not the action. And if you were here to see people running around and using superpowers, I knew what the essence was as a horror movie. I thought they set not only the pace, but the I thought I knew what I was getting into. It was giving away the ambiance right away. And that by the time I got the action payoff, I thought it was worth it. More cameos could have been better, but the only
So-
disposable character they had being Celia Reyes was like a pretty good way to try and I could see where they were trying to incorporate it into a greater X universe, one that I largely dislike. But
Yeah.
So you
Bad.
thought this movie was
That's
better than
horrible.
Logan?
I thought this movie was better. I liked this movie better than Logan. And I
Wow.
thought that for the things that I liked about it, it was better than Logan. If you want to say, like you said, was Logan a
This-
better movie end to end for whatever reason? I don't think so. Like Logan started dropping balls like hard. If we want to get into there, starting off
Yeah.
on the wrong foot, using Professor X as like a
Professor X
heel
is terrible
in a
that
strange
movie.
way, as things that
Yeah.
you pointed out, huge continuity errors that were for me almost insurmountable when they were like, here's what happened. Professor X, he fucked up like a bunch of the mutants. I was like, he killed everyone like they did in Earth X? No, he just fucked up some mutants. Like he killed all of the X-Men? He just fucked up like 10 or 12 people. Like all of it was all so much less consequential by the time it got down to the end. I was like, so what you're telling me is that those X-Men were holding back the tides of evil to the point that we reached an apocalyptic wasteland
Yeah.
in a reality that Professor X could still have been alive for, and that none of the rest of the X-Men or any of the side characters who had been established in all the continuity to that point hadn't come up to like defend him, establish things that like not had them living in a silo that looked like it was like a off the side road from friggin' Mad Max. That part alone, the setting, the whole characteristic of where we're getting here, and then using the Reavers as like the actual villain setup, and then having it fall back on an older X, like on an older Weapon X reference that was like a very thin curve, only to have the actual villain be one thing that Andre, you got to admit with me, one thing that we hate to see. Venom fight Venom, and then Venom fight Venom Plus, and then Venom fight Carnage, and then Venom fight like his older brother. Why have
And then
Wolverine
Venom fight Venom
fight
again.
like why have Wolverine fight like Wolverine like Prime or something? Wolverine Part 2, like that was the worst part for me. At the part where you
Andre's
wanted to get
defense
to a
of that
height.
was like in the narrative of the
I know,
film, which is
and
true.
like
It's
you
about
said,
him
like
fighting
I
himself
just
and
assumed
whatnot.
would have used a robot version of fucking Albert from the comics.
Yeah, Albert, I would have
you
been
know?
better with, but
Yeah,
But
it's
nobody
something they
like
could really
this
tear
is what
into.
happens with you
And
guys
Pete
that are
Lynn.
insane X-Men fans. The
I know,
average
it's
person
true.
reading this thing doesn't care or know who Albert is, and will be totally confused when a dude robot named Albert shows up. They don't
But-
care. They won't know.
But those
Andre,
same
Jamil
people are
says
the
New
ones that
Mutants
got
is better. Also, hilarious ending with the X cross has me laughing in theaters for Logan. Yeah, it's like it's
Yeah.
supposed to be sad, but it's
But
like,
that's the thing about it too. I was like, those people filled the seats for Deadpool 3, and they caught on to references. They were there to catch references that like Age of Apocalypse Wolverine. Who did that matter to? Except for the
No,
kind of person.
they didn't at all. But if you put in a character named Albert, like
Well, you didn't have to make
don't
him
have to
Albert.
call
I
him
meant
Albert.
you could have
No.
used like a mech, and then someone would have been like, "See, like this is why that is." Like instead of using another clone of Wolverine, like there were other options. There were people that could have chosen to have like filled that role and make it like
even
fitter,
Sabretooth.
younger
He could
Wolverine.
have
But
just
no-
fought a great Sabretooth fight.
Dakin
then you
would
would
have
have
been a
supposed
cool
to be,
option.
then
I
you would have.
think.
Okay,
Like can you imagine Dakin rolling up in there? It's like, oh, sorry, this is my son from X-Men.
It's my
the
son. That would have been
Wolverine.
interesting. But
yeah, that
Yeah.
would have been.
I gave it a 7, right? And I said I wouldn't give a movie a 10. So that's like 70% in a class you can probably not get a 90 on.
well,
If
Jamil would have
Jamil is
given
to
it a
be
6,
believed.
and
Yeah,
Jamil was
Jamil's
supposed to
like-
join us for that episode.
Yeah, he's
No,
coming
no,
in.
Well, why don't we
sorry,
put
no,
his
that was
score in there
Calvin.
too? Then
We don't have
You're
enough
lucky you did.
space.
we
Yeah, we're
added
lucky
him.
we did.
But yeah, for this
I
one,
thought Jamil was going to give it a 2 from the way he was talking, to be honest.
I thought that, yeah, I'm surprised Jamil went as high as a 6. Like, you got to know,
All right.
also remember, Andre, how low I rate things. The 7 is like, at
It's
least
a
I
big
got to
gun,
see
that's big
buff,
for me.
angry Wolverine. Laura pulled the whole movie through for me. That gets like 60% of the movie was just like, oh man. Laura, though.
All right, Andre, what do you give New Mutants?
6.
A 6. Okay, so for you, it's like X-Men First Class.
Well, it's better than that.
Well, what did you give a 7? Let's see if you put out any 7s.
It's better than.
No, you have no 7, so maybe that's your 7.
Yeah, it's just like it's like half a horror movie. It doesn't do, and I understand there's a lot
That's
of
what
reasons
I
as
was
to why.
yeah.
I understand there's a lot of reasons as to why it is the way it is, and I want to talk about those in a few minutes. But the end result is judging the movie and what we have, not what could have been or what should have been. So, based on that, I do like the end fight. I think that's great. I think it's a long road to get there, a long, slow road to get there, and if they're going to make this a real horror movie, they missed the mark. So I would have liked to see it really lean into that stuff more, and they could have, and they brushed it, but they don't really give it the full due to give it what it's like. It's a teaser to what it could have been, and it's just that's not entertaining to me. So yeah, I'll say 6. I do like it. I do think the fight at the end is great, and I do like the characters for the most part. It's just a really slow road to get to the great 20 minutes at the end.
Sam, what would you give it?
I'm gonna sit probably on the 7 too. I thought
7.
it was like more of a, it was like a psychological thriller versus like a slash and gash kind of horror. But yeah,
I'm giving it a 7.
yeah,
I thought the characterizations were good for the most part. The acting was good. I agree with what you were saying there, Andre. I think if they'd have leaned harder into the horror, if they're like, if we're making this a horror movie, then make it a horror movie, not just like this superhero origin story. We're like, look, we're sort of making it a horror movie. It's just like, no, for horror movies, it's all about that kind of like dread you feel throughout the whole thing. Like that's what you want. So it's like they're only dabbling at that. That's kind of ineffective. So I probably would give it a 6 if it wasn't for the fact that I thought the characterizations, like I like these characterizations better than any of these friggin' X-Men movies you watch, and of course, including Logan, because the characterizations are just balls in that. It's a good movie, but the characterizations suck. These characters seem like the characters more than anything we've seen in the X-Men. Like Jamil says he agrees it's a 7. Well, all right. I know I've made the right choice. Jamil's a wise man.
It averages out to 7.
Yeah. So
But some of the
I
movies
guess the
like
big
Dark
question is,
One for a Dark
can you make a
Phoenix.
horror movie out of superheroes?
can you make a horror movie? I think they could have leaned harder into this. I think. What do you think, Andre? I think they could have leaned hard enough into this to get a full-fledged horror movie out of it.
You see them? Did you see the movie Brightburn?
I was gonna say
No.
what? Well,
That's
what
good.
Marvel superhero would you use? What
Yeah, I remember
X-Men
that
would you use to make a horror movie out of?
Legion or Danny? I guess, but Legion,
Proteus.
Yeah,
Proteus.
Yeah, all that
I
stuff.
guess
would
it's
be
hard
good.
with the team.
Well, there's lots. I mean, there's a whole horror line of Marvel characters. You could do a Blade. You could do Ghost Rider.
Sure.
You could
Yeah.
do
True.
Moon
They're
Knight to a
gonna-
lesser extent. Werewolf by Night. You know, as they kind of did already. Like it's
Yeah.
there's lots of that
Yeah.
stuff.
Werewolf
Midnight
by Night.
Those are
Suns.
kind of like those are like a kind of horror. They're not, I don't think, like thriller horror or anything.
Like, it could be if it was done right. Midnight Suns, the Night Stalkers, like the Dark Hole.
They're gonna have to
Yeah.
go that. They're gonna have to lean harder into it for those. You'd think.
Even like Doctor Strange went. The second Doctor Strange movie was kind of horror elements. And
Yeah, it's kind. It's like this. It's like
On the fence.
Sam
do
Raimi
horror
horror.
or don't.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's also like that's painting established thing with a horror brush. If you started a new thing that was in horror to begin with, then you're a little freer to kind of do that.
All
I
right.
actually really like the second Doctor Strange movie. I think it's great. It was a lot of
liked
fun. The whole him like
I gotta watch it
inhabiting
again.
a
I think.
zombie body version of himself to fight this guy. That's great. That was great.
See, I found a lot of the horror elements of it kind of ineffective. And I think they needed to lean harder into it. My favorite part of that movie was like the fight at Comertage, where she just shows up. She's like, "I'm gonna break into Comertage," and all the magicians are fighting her and stuff. That's pretty great.
It's just mainly to show how powerful she is. But
Yeah,
I like the America Chavez busting through all the different things.
That
with
was great.
Strange.
yeah, that was cool. And like the big eye thing that he fought, the Shoggoth or whatever guy, that was great.
Yeah, the shoot.
I liked all that
pizza
stuff, yeah.
balls. Like most worlds have pizza balls. You guys,
Yeah.
Well,
Those
she's
are
like
great.
every world has some form of pizza.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And like, and that movie was the first one to kind of really go all like crazy multiversal and see all, like all the stuff that we all love about Deadpool was all in Doctor Strange first, where we got like the alternate Avengers made up of different versions of characters we have and have not had yet. So, it's really fun. I don't know. I dug it.
But like, and keep like, it was a good Sam Raimi doing great Sam Raimi things because it was a lot of fun, and he is a lot of fun. But it's like, it's hard to pin down what you would want to see, what kind of horror you would want to see, and in what capacity. Like where Sam Raimi's just accepted his way for slapstick. It's just about the performance. It's almost more comedic. It's the absurdity that gets you. How do you make a superhero vulnerable enough to have a horror around it? The most horror things that I can think of, the things that are most impactful as horror movies to me would be like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where you're like,
that's my favorite
empathizing
movie.
with this, you're empathizing with the character, the straight man, who you're just like, oh fuck, if I was in those shoes, I wouldn't split up.
Yeah.
It seemed
You'd have to do it with a
in every
street
movie.
level character. You can't do it with like the Hulk. or
Yeah.
like-
Well, okay,
Right.
take probably a good Marvel.
If they did an
cinematic
Immortal Hulk
horror.
story, they could. That'd be great.
Yeah,
One of the
yeah,
best
that'd be fun.
Marvel representations of horror, even though I like this one a lot, obviously. Purple Man. That was
Yeah.
Oh,
almost
Purple
like-
Man's scary. They did that already in the Jessica Jones.
That's what I
show, and
mean.
it
Like
was
the Jessica
terrifying.
Jones show was probably
Yeah.
one of the best horror
enough.
representations.
That's
That's
psychological.
the most
I agree. Yeah, that
vulnerable
was-
you could be as a super.
Yeah,
Um,
and she,
And her
constantly
character.
haunted by it and everything. Yeah.
Hey, check this out.
Hey, check this out. This is our comic reminiscences and recommendations segment. Dan, what do you got for us?
I'll be honest, I don't have the greatest. I went through some stuff today to try and I thought I had better covers. I dig the New Mutants. I love this run a lot.
Who's that run by?
Like it is the Abnett Landing.
Oh, Abnett Landing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, as Davin
That's
will know, I'm a
Guardians
big
run, yeah.
90s guy. So
Mhm.
one of my big things is like they had X-Man on the team, who I think is just bottom. I wouldn't even bother trying to talk about how to bring him in cinematically. He's like the worst character. He's such a
He's the
MacGuffin.
worst.
Like I will solve them all. I have all of the powers. But it's like you know, I like some of those shows, the Dragon Ball Z kind of. You'll never like, oh, I'm the most powerful. Oh no, he's more powerful. I need to train. Now I'm the
I'll
most
train
powerful.
for
Oh no.
16 episodes and then I'll be more
So
powerful.
if you need to like call in a guy who's like gonna end the fight, but this New Mutants cover is
Dan's
just one that I
built
dug out.
25 freaking HeroClix teams around X-Man. He's like, I just thought this
Well-
one was very thematically about X-Man. And it's like,
Well, so this issue interestingly has to do with both Limbo, time travel, the Dream World, Magus, not to be confused with Magus. Yeah, this guy. So there, but like I just picked it out because other than like I think her and her, everyone else is on the team. So we got like Magic, Wolfsbane, Sam is over, or Roberto is over here. Sam flying through the air. So go New Mutants.
Very good.
That's
All right,
New
not a
Mutants
recommendation
47.
because I don't have the issues, but obviously go check out New Mutants 18 to 20. That's the Demon Bear Saga art by Bill Sienkiewicz. They're like the only 3 New Mutants comics I can never find in a bin anywhere, so I don't own them.
Look at how many comics he owns.
It haunts me somewhat.
But you, Andre?
What do you got for us, Andre?
Speaking of Bill Sienkiewicz, go read Arkham Asylum. Sienkiewicz. Devin, there's a pleasanter way to do that, right?
I'm just doing it quickly.
No, you're doing it aggressively and inadvertently talking over people. Bill
I'm from
Sienkiewicz-
Bayfield.
Did I cut someone off when I did that?
I don't know, probably.
And we're also trying to identify how close I live to Dan.
Yeah,
so
very close.
That's why
Even
I brought
closer
that
than I
up.
thought.
Yeah, that's why I was more specific. Anyway,
You could spit on Dan's yard from where you're standing.
Grant Morrison's Arkham Asylum. Go read that. That's good.
Oh, cool. Grant Morrison. Mm-hmm.
What about
well, that's
Sam?
funny. Funny that you'd say. Well, hold on now. Funny.
Or the Frank Miller Electra story that Sienkiewicz drew. That one's really good too.
Sienkiewicz didn't do that. I heard on that story. Oh,
pretty sure he did.
Oh, that story. Yeah, the Electra Assassin.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I specifically said those 2 creators because they're the 2 that worked in that book.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. Did Miller write that? Okay.
I believe so. Pretty sure.
Okay, I didn't think he did. All right. But yeah, good book. I have a couple of the issues. Yeah, good recommendation. Yeah,
actually, I did pick up when I was in Charlottetown. I was looking at the Comic Hunter there, and they had a 90s, like those 90s graphic novels before they became as mass produced as they are now. When they were like a little more, I don't know, I wouldn't say clunky, but they were like cool little sets. They had the Sabretooth miniseries that came out in the 90s. They had that in a trade that was like $5. So I picked it up. I haven't read it yet, but my brother had the first issue, and I remember I read it like 8 times when I was a kid. I never got to read the other issues. So the art's really painted in a weird way too.
Is it the same that's like the crazy oil paintings?
Yeah,
like
isn't it who does the Wolverine Havoc story?
Yeah, the Wolverine Havoc ones. Yeah, like I owned one of those
this-
for a long time, and same story as yours.
It
Just
had the
recently got 'em all.
Sabretooth. It had Sabretooth and the O's were written out. It's one of those covers where you open it and you see the painted picture behind. Like it
that's
was one of
awesome.
those ones. Yeah, it was from '93. It's all on. Let's see if it says who
Marvel
drew it. Yeah, I'm looking at it on Marvel Unlimited, but it's not. That's Larry Hama wrote it. That's right.
Oh, sweet.
That's why I bought it. And Texeira, Exeira.
Teixeira. That name is.
Is that how you pronounce it? Teixeira?
Yeah, Teixeira.
Yeah, so they did the art.
But
it was cool.
That is who did the art on the Wolverine Havoc story.
It was a cool Wolverine thing that like I remember a lot from a kid, never really getting the fulfillment to read, and now I have it, so I will be reading it soon. But it looks cool.
I have to visit you sometime. I've also like that's how I knew it because I've only read the one issue that I had when I was a kid.
Yeah,
and it was the same with the Havoc and Wolverine, but then like I finally got that little mini series together and got to be like,
yeah, it's cool. It looked like the art's beautiful.
The artist. It's almost Sienkiewicz itself.
That's what reminded me of it, actually. Yeah.
We will meet in Bayview.
And speaking of your pick of Grant Morrison there, rumor has it that their X-Men are going to be wearing the quietly Grant Morrison style uniforms, which I'm not super stoked about because I
They're my
like the
favorite.
colorful uniforms myself.
But
You like the
like
black
the-
leather?
I love
Get
it.
right out of town.
Wolverine.
The way it looks with the big yellow X's is kind of cool. If they really lean
Yeah.
into that, instead of the
That's
just
apparently
them
that's
just
the one. I think.
instead what in like the live action movie they're doing.
No, in '97 season 2.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I'm very excited about
Oh,
that.
I'm
That'd be
excited.
great.
I know you would be. I'm
Yeah,
just
right, I
saying,
would
like,
be.
They
Well,
just
maybe-
showed us all the burn costumes and stuff. I'm like, oh, and then
Yeah.
like they're gonna take them away immediately. That's just a little.
Yeah.
Maybe
I'm
we'll
sorry, I'm
get-
with Davin.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
with
like
you,
it's
Andre.
the thing is though, like we'll get all of it. You know, we're gonna
We
get
will.
other stuff. It's not gonna
Yeah.
be there forever.
They keep teasing Brown Suit Wolvie all over the place though. Like, stop teasing Brown Suit Wolvie and just
Yeah.
let it
Yeah.
happen
We
for
saw
a
we
little
saw
while.
Let
it
it
in X-Men
constantly-
'97.
And in
Yeah,
Deadpool
we saw
3.
it in Wolverine. Yeah, exactly. For like 2
Deadpool, yeah.
seconds. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Stop teasing me with this Brown Suit Wolverine.
Yeah.
I mean, if they whenever they get to the live action movie, if they give them that in the comic, that'd be great. That'd be super down. That'd be different than what they've done so far, and it would look cool.
they're
yeah.
Davin, they're gonna give us the live. They're gonna bring back Laura, and she's gonna wear her like brown and yellows with the like animal chain at one point.
Yeah, I'm
That's what
down.
you'll get
sweet.
next.
I'm down with that. Yeah.
Can you
I like
imagine
her
a
yellow
like
uniform
a
better, actually.
X-23 miniseries on Disney? Come on, Disney, what are you doing?
I would watch that.
Leaving money
Oh
on
my
the
god,
on the friggin'
she's
floor right
amazing as
now.
X-23. Yeah.
Yeah. Just her
Um,
bouncing through the multiverse, not giving a
I
fuck.
always
Hiring whatever
forget.
walk on.
I always forget she has the spike that comes out of her foot too. That's always interesting.
Yeah.
Whenever she uses that,
Everyone
I'm
always
like, oh,
forgets
right.
that's the beauty.
I'm like,
of it.
yeah, no, I'm
Yeah,
like, oh, right,
exactly.
yeah.
They're like, oh, they got
She's
X-23
yeah.
now. She's just like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, it's super cool.
I'm sorry, lights out.
She's great. Great
Yeah.
character.
Good character.
What would you pick?
Like what I'm
Comic
excited about.
recommendation. Comic recommendation.
I picked up House of M #4.
Ooh,
I
okay.
kind of I read it a long time ago, 1 and 2, and I kind of forget what it's about.
It's a good story.
Is it?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Art's good.
You can
Art's-
borrow the other issues from me if you want to read the whole.
I just need #3. I have number
Oh.
1 and 2.
There's more than 3
House
issues
of M
in
is
that story.
great.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'll
I
get
was really
fixed.
wishing they were
Okay.
gonna have some like M Day stuff all
Right.
throughout the MCU. Like before they even got to WandaVision, I was just like, oh, please, please. Would have been my favorite, most fulfilling end credit scene of all time if they had Scarlet Witch just be like, no more mutants, just in her sleep.
Yeah.
Well, I have a few recommendations today. One, because I just picked it up. I haven't read it yet, but go check out the newest Alpha Flight. Because Alpha Flight's always a good time. There's no such thing as a very bad Alpha Flight comic. Some of them aren't great, but they're always fun. Like, yeah, check out Alpha Flight. And some of them are great. Alpha Flight.
Nice.
Met by Ed Brisson. And Godlewski. I don't know his art. So there's some David Cutler art in here too.
That seems nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So check out that. Also check out The Unsinkable Whaler Ray. Get it on what?
Get it soon. I got to do another print run. I gotta get more
Can
copies.
they,
Get
can they
it
get it on
soon.
the Kickstarter or anything like that?
Soon, coming up.
Yeah.
There's a
okay,
Kickstarter
yeah.
coming up for it.
Yeah, I'm working on it. It's maybe this fall.
I would like to read it, so it'd be great to get a copy.
I'm about to read this. I'm gonna break into this. Like I can't friggin'
I'll
wait.
make sh- I'll make
I've
sure
seen
you
some
go.
teases of it, and like you gotta love Sam's art style. I love it. It's very
Yeah.
unique. Like
They're very kind.
nobody adapts like the kind of Mad magazine style and stuff like that, like you do, man. It's like a
Reminds me
like
of
a lost
Max
style. I find that like people don't
That's
do anymore.
on the cover.
Kind words.
Well, I mean it. All right, and my last recommendation: Uncanny X-Men #1. The new Gail Simone, David Marquez run of the book. This is the first issue. I stood there in Giant Robot for like 10 minutes, just staring at the different alternate covers, trying to make up my mind. I ended up going with the Andy Kubert. Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
that's
a nice
nice.
one.
Color. Good
Yeah.
colors too.
yeah. Get him to sign that one day, maybe. I got some of his brother's autographs, but I had to choose. I had so much time, and they were signing at the exact same time, and both had huge lines. I'm like, Adam or Andy, Adam or Andy. Ah, that was Adam.
Eternal question.
Yeah, I know, right? Which
Struggle's real.
Kubert?
Which
Yeah,
Struggle's real.
right.
it's not fair. Life's not fair.
Like not like Chris Claremont walks out there with like a brother and it's just like, here, choose. Like, right?
Yeah.
But
At
anyway,
least
great
uses a
artist.
clone.
So, but check it out. It's like the reboot after the fall of X in the Krakoan era. Not reboot. I shouldn't have said that because it's not even disregarding any of it. It mentions some of it.
Continuation.
But yeah, it's a bit of a new status quo just because it's picking up from there. But I even told Gail Simone this. It has everything a little bit of everything I love about the X-Men. Like you read it and you're just like, yes. Like it. As far as like offering you the story, it's just a very small snippet because it has to do a lot of work. So it doesn't really give you much as far as where the story's going, but it gives you a lot as far as where the characters are. At least the three they focus on, which is Rogue, Gambit, and Wolverine, which is a pretty cool place to start.
Well, tell me this one spoiler, Davin. Are Gambit
Yeah.
and Rogue, are they even still married?
Yeah, they're married. Yeah. Yeah.
I said still married. I have the
still married, Mr. and Mrs. X. Yeah.
I had Mr. and Mrs. X like 1 to 10. I was like,
Yeah,
this is gonna be it, boys. Everyone rally behind this.
They're still married, yeah. So it picks up from there. And they're trying to reach out to other people and like trying to decide if there is an X-Men, if they should be the X-Men. Like it's kind of like that, and like that's a thing that's come up in different eras of the X-Men a bunch of times. That's sort of how all the runs restart. They're just like, well, who's the X-Men? Should we do X-Men? We keep getting murdered, like stuff like that. But,
we keep getting murdered. Every time someone becomes a leader, they're sort
stop
of
the murder?
Are we the good
like
guys?
every X-Men
bad
run
guys?
ends with like a bunch of people dying. Like pretty much it seems like. So
should we stop getting all these children murdered?
All the good guys become villains. All the villains become good guys. It's an internal dance.
But check it out. X-Men, Uncanny X-Men #1. Legacy issue, it's like issue number 701, I think, of X-Men, which is funny.
That's
if it
pretty
had started
cool.
one, it would have started on 700, but it started one earlier. But that's pretty cool.
Get it together, Marvel.
Yeah, get it together. Oh, how are we doing? Hello up there. How you doing, you crazy Canucks? Oh, we're Canucking.
Canuck away.
Yeah. We grew up with a school of hard Canucks.
The school of hard Canucks.
Yeah. All right. Well, now it's time for everybody's favorite segment, I assume.
You don't like the movie? Change the channel.
Yeah. So this movie was a bunch of movies inspired this movie, obviously. If you like The Shining would be one, I would say. There are a few others. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, The Breakfast Club. But the one that this reminded me of the most is a fun 80s classic from 1987, featuring another group of kids with interesting abilities, all working together in a facility that they're not really allowed to leave under the tutelage of in this particular, Devin's trying to figure it out. In this particular instance, a compassionate instructor who is helping them navigate the world that they are entering. Devin, do you have any hint whatsoever?
Sam says The Little Rascals.
That's all.
No. Dan, you going?
No, but I know what movie you're talking about, I think, but I don't know.
Well, it's part 3 of a series, and it's A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, Dream Warriors.
Oh, Dream Warriors!
Yeah.
Damn it!
Because at the start, I was like,
Nightmare on
this
Elm
was
Street
most
movie.
like Nightmare on Elm Street. Why wouldn't he go there? But I didn't know that the third one had to do with like psycho.
Well, psychic.
And
They had
people.
they had different little dream ability kind of things that they used to in the dream. They had other abilities that they could kind of use to fight off Freddy. So, hello.
If you're gonna speak, say words, honey. Gibberish isn't getting us anywhere.
Aren't you gonna say hi, Uncle Dan? I saw you earlier. How are you on the TV already?
Yeah, say hi to Uncle Dan.
That is a good comparison, and I did not know that movie had that
It's a great
through line.
movie.
Yeah, it's not as good as Dream Warriors, I gotta say.
Dream Warriors is an excellent movie. It might be the best of the Freddy movies, actually.
I think it definitely
I
is.
had to go
but
back and watch
maybe New
Yeah, now I gotta.
New
Yeah,
Nightmare is also pretty great. I find.
New Nightmare, is that what you said? The
Yeah.
seventh?
Yeah,
It's
I like
it's
New
interesting.
Nightmare.
It's a different take, but it's an interesting one.
Yeah, I thought it kind of had a bit of a reinvigorating kind of take on it, but
that's an interesting comparison.
yeah, that's a
Although I'll
good
have to see it to
recommendation.
watch it to know.
Good recommendation. Well, I was going to do the Party Like It's 97 segment to talk about those costumes, but we've already done it. So
Yeah, not much in the way of costumes in this movie,
You forgot something, Devin.
other than
Oh,
Sunspot.
no, what did I
whose costume
forget?
is like, thank it.
The trivia stuff about this movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, sorry, man. We don't really have a segment for that. I go through my.
We got to get a
segment
segment.
list
What
here.
would you think would be
I've
a good
only done
segment?
it every single movie we've done.
Oh!
Yeah, what would be a
Ooh.
good cut, Andre? That you
I
can
don't
I
know.
got
Dad,
one.
I think Dad would come up with one.
Yeah, Davin, what do you think would be a good cut for that?
Extra.
He's working hard on it.
I am working quite hard. Extra.
You don't have to. It's all good. We know that my little things.
There's something
aren't
about
important to
behind the
you.
curtains. Any references to like
With
Nathaniel X?
Andre. With no accent. That's really gonna piss him off.
Uh-oh.
Extra bits with Andre.
No, I like that. That is nice.
Good.
All right.
That's a
But
keep.
we don't.
All right,
Let's wait while he finds a sound clip.
Who was the gibberish?
This just reminds me of Super Nintendo games.
Yeah, it kind of does too. All right. So Josh Boone intended this film to be the first in a trilogy. The second film would have been an alien invasion movie featuring Warlock, and the third would have been a supernatural
What?
apocalyptic horror film based on Inferno, the Inferno storyline.
Come on.
After,
That sounds like
after
such a
Disney's
loss.
purchase of Fox, all X-Men related films in development were canceled, including the intended trilogy. This was Stan Lee's last Marvel Entertainment film as an executive producer
No cameo.
because he passed away shortly after.
Yeah,
The
not
majority of
been
the
well
film,
enough to
the
cameo.
majority of the film was shot in a mental institution in Massachusetts. The state's
That's what I
first
was
mental
thinking.
institution.
Like there was such a low shooting budget, man. They had spent no time anywhere else. Greens like a green room.
Josh Boone had mentioned he felt neutered filming it because he was told often by the studio to tone down the horror aspect of it, which is
no.
Wrong answer.
That was
Um,
the problem.
Wrong.
So the
answer.
film had 5 release dates. It was originally slated to debut on April 13th, 2018. First delayed until February 19th, 2019 to do reshoots. Later it was pushed back to August 2nd, 2019. Well, they finalized the purchase of Fox. Then it was pushed back to April 3rd, 2020 to make room for X-Men Dark Phoenix. And then on March 12th, 2020, it was postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Boo.
finally
No one
released
should
on-
move anything ever for X-Men Dark Phoenix.
On May 13th, its new release date was August 28th of 2020. So when
Wow.
it successfully came out. So of the original New Mutants roster, it contains Cannonball, Mirage, Sunspot, and Wolfsbane, with Magic not coming until the second roster. This
Yeah,
one
and there's
combines those two.
no karma.
Yeah.
It was
Karma's
initially
powers are like so
And no
similar to
magma.
Mirage's, really.
Yeah.
Like Magma has her own thing going on. Could have stood out, but would have been like too similar to a cross between Sunspot and Cannonball. But like Mirage and Moonstar have such a similar power set.
Mhm.
I always wondered about that in the first place. Very culturally dynamic team, though.
Yes,
Which I've always
agreed.
loved.
It was initially reported Fox plan to have the film heavily reshot based on feedback from test screenings to make it scarier. So they actually had to backpedal to go do reshoots to make it scarier. Due to a lot of the cast members not being available, the reshoots are pushed back. And then Disney acquired Fox. They reportedly the reasons they canceled it doing the reshoots differ depending on who you ask. Some say Disney had fine with the movie as it was. Some say the cast had aged over the 2 years and it didn't make sense to do it this way. So various reasons it never got reshot. Ileana's last name in the film is in fact Rasputin, according to the little scan that goes over her body from the TV, from the little videos. But there's no reference to her being the sister of Colossus.
Did you catch any other names that were in the cells or anything like that? I wondered when they were disposing of people in Celia Reyes's memory.
Right.
I was looking, but I couldn't even figure out who the characters were by like their physical appearances. Like I was.
They were
trying-
probably kept
I
vague for
don't
that reason.
Yeah.
They didn't work.
Reyes was an interesting choice for a villain because in the comics I don't know her that much, but she definitely was not
not a
like
villain.
that. If she is a villain, she's
She's a
not that,
doctor.
like yeah. But her
That's
shield's like ability is
That's real.
that powerful. Like it made me wonder during the course of the film, like if they had some way to have her latently use it, because like she can use it in a proximity, but how did she keep up the force fields like at lengths on doors and stuff? I didn't think that
It
was in
seems
her
stressed
power
all
set.
the time, but that's what I was thinking. Like they knock her out so they can play around, but like they could have left.
At that time, yeah.
Yeah, they could have just.
But again,
left.
they were teenagers, not thinking in their best mind with a lot on
Yeah.
their go. Some of them.
The villains in the film wear smiley face masks, some of them. In the comics, the New Mutants faced off with a mutant supremacy group called the Right,
Oh
which
yeah,
also
the
wears
right.
smiley face masks.
Well, they're
Nod.
smiley face robots.
Yes.
Okay, so they're like some sort of deep state conspiracy here.
You
where the
remember them. I
Russians
get
are
there's a
funded
bunch
by
of
the
them.
smiley.
All right, here's an interesting one. So the alien mutant Warlock was planned to appear in the film.
Just
His
like the
his
second-
powers would have been too expensive for the film's budget, so he was removed with the intent to appear in a planned sequel. Guess who would have played him?
They had Warlock cast.
Yeah. Motion capture.
Oh, Andy Serkis.
No. Sasha Baron
Joe.
Cohen.
Sacha
Oh,
Baron Cohen. That's
that would have been good. Come on, Davin. He's
What?
completely
I
CGI'd
don't
in.
like
That guy
Sacha
can
Baron
stretch.
Cohen.
Have
I
you
don't
ever
like
heard
him.
him
He did
sing?
great
Have
at
you
it.
ever
Great.
heard him sing? He's a great comedian. Not everything is Borat, and yeah, that would have
I
been
have
a
a
good.
trouble not seeing Sacha Baron Cohen. I think though, when I see him in a role,
But if he's completely CGI'd out and turned
Yeah,
into like
that's-
something that could be 6 feet tall or 6 feet wide at every given moment,
that's a good.
he's
point.
got the kind of flexibility. If it was if this movie was shot when the movie was set, then maybe like Jim Carrey could have been a good. Like it'd have to be a
Plus, you're
younger.
gonna have all
My
these
biggest-
kids, and Sacha Baron Cohen is the new.
Well, that's the thing. My biggest problem with Sacha Baron Cohen is by the time they would film it, he's still
He's
already
like
getting up
50.
there.
Yeah, he's just a He's just a voice. So
I know, but it's
Yeah.
still pretty funny.
That's what I said.
Um,
But he's a physical actor, though. He could be in a suit trying to like
Mm.
get around.
Yeah, his body
That-
movement's quite recognizable.
final film in 20th Century's Fox X-Men series due to the company reverting to film rights from Marvel Studios. Second appearance of Sunspot. He appeared in X-Men Days of Future Past
He did.
briefly.
He flew in that one.
The teaser trailer was released on a horror-themed date of Friday the 13th in 2017. Josh Boone was a major fan of the X-Men, owns a large amount of comics, apparently. As you mentioned earlier, but
Good, I believe it.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer episodes that were featured were, in fact, The Body and Hush.
Didn't fool Lindsay and Dan.
No,
they got him.
Not when it comes to Buffy stuff.
No.
Yeah, so Rosario Dawson was originally offered the role of Cecilia Reyes, but turned it down.
I would have liked that just because, like, I find she elevates everything she's in. Rosario Dawson. She brings this kind of real life kind of emotion. I find everything like somehow she made Clerks 2 like a super dramatic movie. Like
It would have been
she's
interesting
really good.
seeing her
Like,
play the villain, though, having to like be revealed as
Yeah.
having been complicit or
Especially
involved in
because
that.
we kind of know her as night nurse and all that stuff before too. So you know.
Oh, yeah.
So a few other things. The working title for the show movie was called Growing Pains. It's probably
That
not
works.
to the 1980 sitcom. Nat Wolff was considered for the role of Cannonball. He's in a fairly
I don't
famous
know who
actor.
that is.
This is the first film in the X-Men franchise starring a woman, according to the final credits. That's different from the other films that were starred by men who received their first turnover.
They used that sound bit. Should have called it X Women.
Yeah. So the first names mentioned and the other ones are Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, James McAvoy, and Ryan Reynolds. So with Maisie or Maisie, how do you pronounce it correctly? Maisie Williams receiving first billing in the cast credits.
Good name.
That was interesting to me. I kind of noted that because of the height of her fame, and then Anna Taylor-Joy being next, and then that like Danny was 4 down. I think like did you say
Who was top billing on this one?
Maisie?
Macy
I mean,
Williams.
yeah, she was obviously the biggest star at the time. Like
Probably because of
Game
Game
of
of
Thrones
Thrones.
was
Yeah.
just ridiculous, at the time.
So
She did a great job of Rain, though.
Anna Taylor-Joy and Charlie Heaton previously worked together in a film called Marrowbone from 2017. I don't know if you noticed this as
Marrow,
well.
X-Men character, Bone, comic book character.
Marilyn Manson is also in this film. If you didn't know, he does the voice
What?
work for the demon monsters. It's Marilyn Manson.
Marilyn
that
Manson
kinda
is
takes
the
away from
demons.
it.
I read that. Yeah.
Adam Beach, Happy Anderson, I think who played the priest, and Marilyn Manson are the only cast members who are alive when the New Mutants debuted in the comics in 1982. Alice Braga, who played Reyes, was born in '83, so just shy of when they came out.
We're the same age almost.
So my final extra bit is Antonio Banderas was originally slated to make a post-credits appearance as Emmanuel DaCosta the father of
I
Sinister.
thought you were
going
gonna
to say
it's
Mr. Sinister. Yeah.
He actually would have been good in that too.
He still would.
Had
Don't
requested
rule it
the
out. Battle World, motherfuckers. 20,
the
29
idea
or
was
whatever.
ultimately scrapped when Disney purchased Fox and made a sequel unlikely to occur.
27.
Yeah. 2027, you think?
Yeah.
Imagine a Battle World
2027.
Fuck.
It's
So yeah, what do you think? Do you think there'll ever be a possibility of any of these characters reprising their roles in an eventual film where the universes collide in some sort of, I don't know.
If they do it Secret Wars, or it would have been Deadpool 3.
It would have been. Should have been. That's one of my, like, couldn't pull one of these guys from
If they could
obscurity.
afford Anya Taylor-Joy at the time, having her show up as magic.
They could, like,
portal to
no
kick some
offense,
ass for a
because
second,
I
would
think
have
she
been
did a
pretty
great job, but the girl who played, like, Danny, would she not sign up for dollars donuts to play in this freaking Marvel
Sure,
movie?
but-
For
Well,
like 30
they
seconds?
apparently in the Deadpool movie they had planned to incorporate some members of the Fox Fantastic Four film, like the newer one, but the budget
That's
was
what I was
already,
wondering.
the budget
Yeah.
was already quite like the part of the reason they scrapped that was they already had the Human Torch there and with Chris Evans, and then they also
He ate off all the
like
budget.
we
He
could have
got
got a
rid of
whole
the
4
movie.
for that one.
Yeah.
How fantastic is he?
It would have
He's
been
pretty
kind of funny
fantastic.
as if we saw like Michael B. Jordan
Yeah.
also like in some kind of robe, and then Deadpool
Two
also
Michael
is
B.
like,
Jordans
and then-
come
and
up.
then-
One of them comes up as like
and then Deadpool's
Electro.
also like, oh man, this guy was like the best killer, and blah blah blah, and he waits for him to say Wakanda forever, but then he says Flame On as well, and you're like, oh no, it would have been funny if they did that again, because like, but it's good to win.
Yeah,
But vice versa
Well-
would have been good. Yeah, I wonder if and then Josh Brolin for the ultimate bait and switch.
Thanos,
It
but
just
he's
like
Cable.
comes out as Thanos, but he's Cable. I was like, what? I would have taken either of them actually.
It would have been funny if like they did it like, I mean, it would never work, but it would have been funny if like someone from the DC universe was there and it was like wrong movie, and
Henry
they just kind of
Cavill
like,
was there.
yeah, I know,
Henry
but like
Cavill just
if there
flies
was like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker just walks in and then walks out, like just something really dumb like that, but really funny.
That's probably. I suspect. I kind of think a DC character is going to show up in Secret Wars, but we'll see. That's my call that a.
What is
theory.
it?
What? No, you're insane. There's no way that's going to happen.
Never gonna
You're
happen.
insane.
It'd be cool
There's
if they
no way for
recast
it.
one of the guys who played Flash, because there's like a storyline where the runner from out in the outskirts of the Marvel Galaxy collects all the
Yeah, the runner.
fastest people in the universe. He brings like Quicksilver for whatever reason. That like in that Eternals guy are two of the recognizable ones. There's
Makari.
another speedster that used to be in the Invaders, and then there's a guy who's like Buried Alien is his name, and he landed on an alien planet, and he's like a white dude with like red tights and his shirt's ripped off, and he's got a yellow belt and no shoes, and he's got like long blonde beard and blonde hair, and it's called Buried Alien because Barry Allen is like the Flash. He came from another universe. That I
it's a
could
very
see.
subtle message.
Yeah,
That
they
would be
could
pretty
do
funny.
something like that. Who knows? You can support the show at patreon.com/X-Men Review Show. Get some sweet merch like this shirt here. Redbubble.com/people/X-Men Review Show/shop. Or you can contact us at xmenreviewshow@gmail.com, or hit me up on Facebook. And you can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Find our audio only version wherever you get your podcast. Please like, review, and subscribe. And we are a proud member of
Sam got any
Federation
plugs?
of Podcasts. Got any plugs?
No, just thanks for having me, guys. It was fun.
The Unsinkable Whaler Ray.
Hey, yeah.
Thankful
Seriously,
Ray.
I can't wait to read this.
Thanks, guys.
It's gonna be
How much
amazing.
money did you have to pay the estate of Molly Brown for that title?
Who?
The character that Kathy Bates played in the Titanic, her name is Molly Brown.
Right.
And they wrote a book called
They don't-
Unsinkable Molly Brown about her life.
Oh, yeah. Oh, geez. I didn't even think about that.
Lots
Yeah,
of things are
all
unsinkable. Not the Titanic, but lots of things.
I know.
Molly
I don't-
Brown.
Yeah, it's
There's one.
No,
Oh,
I'm just
Murphy's
teasing.
happy to see you. There's my great
Oh,
title.
Murphy,
Yeah.
Chris.
Nice.
That doesn't necessarily mean he's happy. It could mean anything. It just said Big Sam with an exclamation point. It could be like
Everybody loves
Big
gotta have
Sam.
Anyway.
Big Sam.
Well,
Big Sam.
all right, let's get out of here. Big Sam's got some stuff to do. All right.
I don't.
no, that's true. Andre
All
does.
right.
Andre always does.
Yeah.
Andre's got a lot. There we go.
Yeah.
All right, thanks,
All right,
guys.
thanks. Catch you next time.
See you next time.
Oh, Devin,
Yeah.
what are we doing next? You haven't told me what's next.
Way to ruin my exit. What are we doing next? Oh, were we going to review a comic book? Oh no, we're going to talk to that maybe talk to that fella.
Right on.
One of those two.
Sounds good.
One of those two.
Just
we're gonna do.
if I gotta watch something or do something, I should know what that is. So, all right.
Yeah, I'll let you know tomorrow.
All right.
I'll reach out.
Sounds
to
good.
guys. So one of those two, we are going to review a comic though. We decided on what it was, I believe. Oh, we were going to E for Extinction.
Right. Yes,
I would have voted. By the way, Andre,
Prepare people for their suits.
Spider-Man would have been my vote, bro.
I know, man.
Sorry,
I wanted to. With Devin.
Devin's
a slave to the.
so much more difficult than you know.
Devin's a slave to the format. So, I agree.
Oh, the way I looked at it was
the format he
more
created.
Than
by the way,
2/3 of the people who voted on our vote voted for an X-Men something. So that's the way I viewed it.
He's a slave to the format until I'm around.
That's right.
Look, within a year, we're going to be reviewing Spider-Man. Everybody chill out.
Devin, it's me or Spider-Man. Make a decision.
What you mean? I get Spider-Man?
Make an
No,
assessment.
I get to choose you or Spider-Man as my co-host. I get Spider-Man?
No, me and Spider-Man, or no me and no Spider-Man.
Oh, well, that's different. I like the way you said it the first time, where I had the possibility of having Spider-Man as a co-host.
That's right. The actual Spider. No, that's all right. Whatever you're doing, we'll do.
We saw
I'm down.
Spider-Man.
But I do like doing E for Extinction. Will be fun.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to do my exit sound effect again.
All right.
Maybe.
Let's
All
do
right.
it.
Catch you next time.
He said we had to run.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.